one William Shongwe, who joins us now on the Front Runner Football Podcast to speak all things Kaizer Chiefs. As the big news, of course, today is the fact that we have Gavin Hunt being appointed as the new head coach of Kaizer Chiefs. And Bro Willie, you know the man well. You've worked with him. So in terms of the Kosi Nation and what they can expect from Gavin Hunt as their head coach, what are they getting in this winner of a coach? Let's start there, which is very important with Kaizer Chiefs having come so close at the end of this last season. Welcome.
Sorry, Kamza. Before he can start, Prawili.
Hey, Velis. I'm strong in yourself, my brother. Long time.
I'm strong. Is your training gear ready?
Eh?
Is your training gear ready?
What do you know that I don't know?
I'm just asking because I foresee some reunion here. I'm smelling some reunion.
You know what? This whole day I've been getting some very strange calls from people I don't know, asking very strange questions that I cannot answer because I'm in the dark, and I just want to put it straight to you right now, even before you go on. Don't even go there because I'll not tell you anything. I don't know anything. Up until somebody comes to me.
It's not a question. I only have one thing to say. Home is always home for you, right?
It has always been home. That I think it's safe to say. It has always been home.
You've answered me.
You're killing me. Wow. Hey, look, we don't know where it's going, but hey, Kamza, can we get on with it? We are
Sure. Answer Kamza, I'm done.
Okay.
Bro Willie, yes, sir. So Gavin Hunt, favorite from everybody to take over this job. And, in terms of sentiment, it's mixed. Some people think, he's a one-dimensional coach. Some people will look at footage and say he can get a team to play. Where do you sit? Which camp? And because you know him so well, what insights do you have?
Kamza, thanks very much for the opportunity to come into this platform. And I'm actually really excited about. I was very excited to be able to pounce onto this news about the finality of the agreement of Gavin Hunt. I mean, it's been pending for the longest. But first of all, before I even answer that, I think it's important to maybe applaud Chiefs for having been that quick in making the decision. Remember, from the past, Chiefs have had to take a long time to make an announcement, making it very difficult for the players who obviously are not too certain about what's going to happen to them when the new coach comes, and also which in a way does upset the preparation of the team. You remember the time, or the season that Solinas was hired. Only 2 weeks before the season started, he arrives. And I can imagine what kind of preseason would he have done with the team, and how much of his philosophy would the players have understood, and which basically set the season into a very, very, very disorganized one for Kaizer Chiefs, which eventually we saw. They came out with nothing eventually. But very happy for Gavin Hunt. I feel it was overdue. That's my thinking. I mean, Gavin Hunt has achieved just about everything there is, except for two, coaching one of the two Soweto Giants, and of course, getting into the national team. I think if there's anything that he hasn't achieved, it's those two. But at least now with the signing with Kaizer Chiefs, that puts him in a position where he's will be able to have the chance to coach one of the big sides. But these styles and approach to the game, you know what? Kaizer Chiefs at this stage. Are you with me, Kamza?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. Yes.
Loud and clear, sir.
Thank you.
Keep going.
Kaizer Chiefs.
I don't want to interrupt your flow.
Thank you very much. Kaizer Chiefs at this stage, I don't think it's about playing style or about what Gavin does. Kaizer Chiefs needs desperately to win a cup. And if there's one thing Gavin can guarantee you, is that he's going to win them something within this very season. So you need to bring back the pride into the Naturena village. That is first and foremost for Kaizer Chiefs. They need to get back to winning ways. I'm not just winning games, but winning silverware. And that obviously is the biggest challenge that the team is going through. They've played the best football in some season, in the past, say, 4 seasons at some stage with Steve Kompela, and they came out with nothing. And the German came, Middendorp, and obviously he's a little bit structured and a little bit rigid in his approach, and they got nothing. And right now, put aside all the pride about style. Style for what? What is this business all about? What's the business of football all about? It's about winning games. That is what companies and sponsors are looking for. This is what the fans need to celebrate. The pride of being able to win a championship. And Gavin is going to make sure that at least one of these cups that are obviously are available, he's going to make sure that he wins 1 or 2 of them. So right now, I think this is the best choice that Kaizer Chiefs have made. Let's put aside the style and everything.
Okay, I mean, I hear all of that, and you touched on his philosophy. How would you encapsulate his philosophy?
You were breaking a little bit. I didn't quite get that one.
Okay, I was saying, how would you personify his philosophy? How would you describe Gavin Hunt's philosophy?
Okay, you see, that's the other area that I feel maybe Gavin Hunt is misunderstood. Just because he played for Helnik, which is a hard-running team, and obviously he's a coach at that stage. Bajipain, may soul rest in peace. He was more of an Englishman. Their type of football was more direct, more the English way of playing. Down the line, get a cross in, and get the big players to head. But Gavin has been long enough. Gavin, by the way, when he left Cape Town, he joined Black Leopards, who didn't have any of those players that will give you the type of philosophy that people talk about, whereby he's more direct. He had a team of players that played the most beautiful football in their first season in the PSL and ended up in the top 8, beating the likes of Kaizer Chiefs in the process, playing attractive football, attacking football. So now, remember, it's not so much about the philosophy of the coach. It's about the players that you have on board that determines what type of game are you going to play. So a coach has very little as far as an influence of how the team is going to play. It's the players. You as a coach need to adapt to the quality of the players that you do have. So if you were to look at Gavin Hunt, he obviously played a certain way of playing because of the players that he had then. But if Gavin Hunt, if he had Messi in his team, I'm sure he'll play the tiki-taka type of football. And which is, for me, a coach can only adapt with what he has on the play. By the way, I was talking earlier about him joining. The point I'm trying to make will come a little bit later. Let me just maybe give you the chance to go on. I think I've kind of explained the philosophy. The philosophy is he plays what he calls from the front. He plays from the front, meaning that he doesn't allow too much play in defense. That means he's going to try and shift the game to start the passing game a little bit higher in the field. It's not direct. It's like he obviously that guides him from a situation where ball position is lost in his own half, whereby the players don't recover enough. He had that situation, by the way, 2 seasons ago when he introduced the likes of Klassen and Skilo, the players that likes to maybe build from. In fact, the team was not quite adaptable to playing that, and they considered their highest goals. In fact, they were threatened at some stage to being relegated. That is Bidvest, which is the style that they adopted. Those players weren't quite ready to play from the back, and they were punished, and they considered the highest possible goal scored.
Wow, that is some incredible insight there in terms of obviously if he strays away from what he knows best, how it can sometimes work against him. In terms of the personnel that he has, let's, hoping things are equal and maybe they get this whole cast situation and are able to demark they have. What do they need?
Um, I would say, I'll put it to you right now that if there's one challenge that he will have is being able to revitalize this players that he has right now. Because let's talk about his the type of football beside the philosophy, but there's other aspects of the game in between the philosophy. You can play the straight or direct type of football where you want the ball down the line and so on, but you still needs a certain intensity into your game, whereby you play. Some players, are happy to sit and absorb the pressure, and they play transitional football, whereby only when they win the possession back do they go forward. But now that means a team like that is not going to apply high pressure. But with Gavin, he mixes it both depending on certain instances of the game, whereby he can sit back when the opposition has the ball, but when he is on the attack, he plays high pressure so that when he loses the ball in the higher areas of the field, he's able to pressure and be able to win the ball. Gavin Hunt's team, they create the most chances. The only one snag that I've seen in just about all the teams that he's coached is that he's not scoring enough if you were to compare the chances that he creates. And if it's too direct, why would you be able to create so many chances? If it's not entertaining, it's not creative. Remember, beside the play and the passing game in the middle of the play, it's the goal actions that really makes a game to be exciting. And all of Gavin's team, if you look at how he plays, there's lots more goal actions. There's the goalkeepers and the defenders from the opposition are always under so much pressure. And that is what fans need. That is what excites the fans when they're in the stadium or even sitting at home watching the game on TV. And so for me, I'm telling you, Gavin will be able. The only challenge that he has is, will these players adapt to his system? Will they be able to maintain high pressure football, the high intensity type of football that he plays? And that, for me, if only he was given the chance to maybe introduce a few players of his own, or the players that can play that. But I think arriving there, you'll be able to pick and choose who's more likely to bring on board to make sure that it happens within the squad that is got.
Okay. Before we let you go, bro, Willie Stavech has a question also and his opinion on the subjects.
Yeah, Brawi, firstly, he comes at a time when there's the issue of the transfer ban. So I was very much interested in looking at the two scenarios, because I understand that the club has not been sleeping in this window, even though they cannot sign or register players, but they're not sleeping. And judging by what I'm getting is, at least wherever they are looking, it's also where he's also comfortable at as well. But in the event that the ban, the appeal of the ban is not successful, do you see him turning things around with the current squad?
It's not going to be easy. And but the one thing that he has got is we got to give credit where it's due. If you look at what Atazwan has been able to do in that development, if you look at some of the players that got promoted, even in this last season under Middendorf, very exciting players. And that, for me, already has got a springboard if he needs to really shake up the current scenario with these new youngsters that were introduced last season under Middendorf. And I think they'll give him some form of stability. And with this simple system that Gavin does play, he doesn't complicate the game too much, which is, I think, what helps even ordinary players to be able to play for him, because it's not too complicated. Yes, a little bit direct, but he will have a few players in certain positions that can transform the game to where he wants it. Let's go back to the way that he played at SuperSport. they weren't the most exciting team in as far as their build-up is concerned. But if you look at Dane Clegg in that wing play, if you look at Pelembe on the other side, on the right-hand side of the wing, suddenly, with the ball a little bit high in the field, this excitement, and that for me is where, as a coach, a good coach targets certain areas to where he can make his game happen, even when the other areas maybe are not up to scratch. So for what he's been able to do with very little resources, I think with those youngsters coming from the development, that's why I say credit must be given to Arthur Zwane for the great work that he's been able to do over the years to continue to produce youngsters that are quick to fit into the first team structures.
Yeah, in fact, I always say, I've been saying this season, and one time I was even saying it to himself that with the squad you had no business challenging for the league title. I don't know why you are here challenging for the league title, but because you are the coach that you are, you managed to be competitive with this team. And bear in mind, this was a team which was also in the group stages of the CAF Confed, and he arrives at a Kaizer Chiefs team which has never been to the group stages of a CAF Champions League or even CAF Confed. And now he'll be back in the CAF Champions League.
That obviously is the other challenge. I'm glad that you're already looking so far ahead, because it's not just the kickoff of the season. Suddenly, in about 3-4 games time, the CAF competitions are going to kick in. And if the squad is limited as it is right now, and having to basically juggle this kind of so many balls at the same time for a team that has not been that space.
Really, we lost your mic.
I'm just hoping that there should be enough to be able to, because for who he is able to focus and zoom on to a period of games in as far as what he can do in this period. And that is how basically he's going to play it, in the hope that in the meantime, management are going to be trying hard to deal with the other issue of the suspension from signing players from CAF. So we hope that can come in a little bit quicker so that Gavin Hunt can have all that he needs to achieve the ambition that he has.
Yeah, I think that's definitely another whole topic when we actually find out how that pans out, because then we'll know the implications of his situation as a coach. But obviously the Khosi Nation are hoping that it doesn't stand and that he can at least dip into the market and try to give it a good run, because it's there for everyone to see, bro, Willie. The team is capable. I mean, yes, they lost out on the last day, but you add some quality in certain areas and they can go for it again. And I guess you'd want that momentum because the fear is if that's sanction comes into place, it might be a while until Chiefs can compete at that level, even though you say Gavin Hunt can win them a cup maybe as consolation.
It's a pity, because should the ban stands, and I think Chiefs will be robbed of a moment by which they could easily resurrect their status to where they used to be under Gavin Hunt. But he has accepted the job regardless. If there's one thing that I used to chat about him even before the issue came to this, because I knew at some stage this will come, and he was saying if he were to get a job at Chiefs, he'll win all the cups. Gavin, I'll win all the cups. I'll win it. So it's a pity, because he gets a job at a time where the team structures, in as far as the players, the resources, are ailing a bit. But you know what? This is what it is. This is what coaches are hired to do. They are hired to make the impact. They're psychologists. That's why they get paid. They get paid the big monies. I'm sure in the back of his mind, before he accepted, before he put pen to paper, he must have thought about all the pros and cons that he's more likely to face. And I'm sure he's got a scoop somewhere whereby he knows this is how he's going to maneuver. And we can only hope that things obviously do work out for him, because I feel like Chiefs, this is the one time that we're going to see the resurrection of the old Chiefs, where they would sweep the board. I mean, in our time, winning cup was never even a worry that are we going to win a cup. It was a question of how many cups are we going to win. So I think with this man's return or arrival at the Naturena village, wow, the Coast Nation, we're going to be happy people again.
Well, yes, you know what? In the spirit of the lovely game, I certainly hope so, because it will definitely make the race and the title and all the cups a lot more interesting if we have the likes of Kaizer Chiefs being a growing concern and one that can actually affect the outcome of all these various cups and league situations. Thank you so much, Bro Willie. It's always great speaking to you. Like I say, we're making a commitment now to speak once again once we know what's happening as far as that scenario is concerned, and maybe we start seeing who joins him as far as his technical team, and if whether he'll be able to work with some of the people that he's found at the club. We'll look into that as well. So thank you so much for your thoughts and impressions. Stavej, thank you to you too, sir, for coming through and also bringing through the expertise of Mandla Shabalala to speak with us this evening. Yeah, him and Paul clearly on two different pages, Stavej, but one of them has to be wrong. One of them is going to be wrong.
Yeah, no, time will tell. Time will tell. The good thing about these things is that in football, they all have an expiry date, you know? Yeah. There's always that day where the outcome is coming. Just like we will see even next week about Brawley.
T minus. T minus. Stavej, the streets want to know, any ideas as to who's going to be the new sponsor of the league?
We spoke about that in as soon as the sponsor was gone. We spoke about that. The address is in Randburg.
Okay, cool. You know the same thing I know.
Willie
okay.
again.
Willie again.
Who really knows too much? Whereas when Veli, sometimes it's dangerous. You know too much. Be careful.
No. It's that we try to manage information. You know, it's that sometimes football fans are impatient. They try to drive you to say things because you know there's this pressure of social media now. But yeah, what is important is yeah.
Speaking of which, the breaking news: TTM have just released Piso Tlanti and Tabang Munar.
Aha.
Breaking news.
And where is Tlanti going?
Possibly in Pretoria somewhere.
Oh.
Well, I think
somewhere in the yellowish nation.
I will give you 0 out of 5 because you know the address, but you don't want to share it.
Well, I'm like
he's
you.
Doing what he's doing. You do. He's managing the information. He's managing.
Yes. And one south maybe. Following his Mqeqeshi.
Hey, man. So many permutations. Time will tell, and hopefully we reflect on it on the next one. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time this evening, Stavej, Brawili, and to you too, who's been watching on YouTube and been joining us via Zoom. We appreciate you all, and hope you had a good, insightful discussion tonight. It was touched on a lot of different things, but I think we had some of the best brains available in the house. So for myself, comes on Bata, until we do it again soon. And a big shout out to my man behind the scenes, Piwe. We'll catch you in a couple of days' time, a weekend to go, and we'll catch you in the new week. Gents, thank you so much. Keep well. Ciao.
Chop.
Cheers.